So welcome back to our sessions. Today we'll be looking at one shoe. I think everybody that I've done one shoe with in a lesson, they've always done things slightly different. So, as I said before, if your instructor is teaching you this kata, then if there are changes or slight nuances about what they do to what I do, then please go with their way of doing it, because he's your sensei or she's your sensei. So follow their instructions. Yeah, pay them respect. Today, Sensei Kerry here, and I'm sure Simon will be playing a starring role as I try and throw him all over the place. So, ready? Enjoy, because we do. One shoe.
So once again, we'll ask you if you do enjoy it, give it a like, subscribe, share it if you think anybody else might enjoy it. We've also started doing a series of shorts, so little segments from katas, chopping them up, just a few minutes, emphasising certain points. So you might enjoy those as well.
Okay, so we're going to try and break the kata down for you. Remember, this is kaiset, so yeah, you can most probably try your own things doing this, but this is just a starter. So first of all, yeah, we're looking at this move. So what we need to go through is the most common attack when you're fighting is gakuzuki and a maigeri. Yeah, followed up relatively quick. It's usually 1-2. Yeah, 1-2. All right. So first of all, we're looking at the gakuzuki jodan. So slowly move, cover, and punch. Yeah. So once more, move off center, off senju-sen, cover, and then punch down. So first of all, practice that. Then the next part is start from about here, and then when the maigeri comes in, 1 and nanamizuki. So again, 1 and 2. Yeah, some people think or believe, yeah, 1 and MP. But as you can see from the mai, there's nobody here to do MP. Even when he does the maigeri, you know, the only thing you could do is MP there, outer thigh. So in this application, MP is just basically an intermediate. It's a path on the way down to do the uki for the maigeri. So once you get used to the first part, 1, 2, yeah, get here, then the second part, 1, 2, gidan barai and nanamizuki. If you find the mai, well, the ai is too close, it's a little bit slower for the keri, then you can use your elbow onto it, especially if it's a hizugeri. Yeah, but it would be on the actual attacking limb, not to the torso. Yeah. So sometimes if your stance, if you're too close or you're pushed in, then hizugeri will be fine. But just down and then nanamizuki. So we're coming now to one of the most, in this kata, common combinations. So we'll only be doing it once, because it's no good just repeating it. So from here, Gidan. Now try not to pull back, deepen your stance and lower your stance so you're coming underneath. Cover, like in your seishan, cover and down. And then push out. So we'll go through that in a combination using Sensi-Keri. Yeah, so Gidan Barai Gaku. Then I'm going to go forward. I'm taking the attack. Cover and punch down and out. Yeah, try and use this as what? Not a Gidan Barai, but a Gamai, like your fighting stance. They're down. So, down there. Yeah, here. Yeah, no good putting your fighting, your cover up in this height, but Gidan Barai. Yeah, so once more. Forward, push forward. Down and out. Gidan Barai. Gidan Barai position, but a Gamai. So next portion we'll be looking at is, okay, so we need to move this leg to the center because we're going to be standing on the one leg. Yeah, so to get a center line and coming up. Yeah. Kakyukai and Nihonzuki. So, from there, slowly, Gakuzuki Jodan. So we move off center line and bring our foot with it. Then a compression, hit. Then Kakayukai. Then to the spleen. 1, 2. I do it too hard because we don't want Kerry in hospital.
I want it later, we're in the pub.
Yeah, okay. So, to the side, compression, hook. 1, 2. So, just, this is compression, so we hold the head and hit, hammer fist, tetsui, in it. But you can also use it as a target. Yeah, we use targets in quite a few katas. If you look back on Pinan Yondan, yeah, Pinan Godan, Seishan, yeah, Kushanku. Yeah, there's lots of areas where you use this hand as a target. Yeah, but on this one, yes, use it as a target when you're using, or you're actually doing the kata. But with a partner, just support and tetsui, but obviously be very, very careful. And you use your weight going forward to hit. Okay, so the next combination. We are dropping again, coming underneath the punch. Then, shito. Punch coming. Pull back. Shito. Try not to pull back, but just take your weight in. And forward. Shito. Okay, so this part of the kata, when you're doing it with a partner, it actually changes your mentality because you have to take it to them. There's a lot more irimi, a lot more going in, and you have to take control rather than doing gono sen, which is an uki and then an attack. You have to be pushing. You have to be taking the attack to them instead of step, uki, punch, step, uki, punch, kick, uki. Yeah, this is a different mentality. You have to take it to them. So 1, taking it to them. taking it to them. So you overpower them rather than taking it slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You have to. So 1, 2, 3, pull back, stow, gaku, stow. So it's a different mentality. You're actually attacking them so quickly and from varied directions, from various, using various techniques, that they have not got time to do uke. Once more. So. Oi. Okay, so slowly, we'll be going through this combination through slowly. So, Gidan Barai, up underneath, here. Then, stow. Now the Chudan one. So come back, stow. Gaku and stow. So if I can do that a little bit quicker. So, Gidan Barai, underneath, stow, pull back, stow, gaku, stow. Stoke and stouchi in there. And also dropping and coming up underneath. Right. Next combination. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're coming back to this 3 Gidan Barais, 3 Jodanukis, 3 Shutos, this Sanbongomite. Yeah, so we will only be taking it to 1. The others is just practicing other side, practicing or moving back to the original position. So you practice right, left, and then back to right. So we'll only be taking it 1 and here. So from there, show, target, take, strike, and taisho, strike, taisho, strike. From the Gidan Barai, we show this move, then here. So, to practice slowly, show the target, take, show, take. Show, take, hit, then strike. So a little bit quicker, show 1 and strike. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So the next portion is in, grab, pull, throw, stow, stow. So what we'll do is break it down into 2 parts, and then we put those 2 parts together. Yeah. So, done the strike, double strike, grab, take, not this, with your arms straight now, keep it pulled in and keep your head down because the headbutt. Yeah? pull, throw, and stow, and stow. So we've gone through, thrown, one, and strike. Okay, now we'll put the two together. So, one, grab, throw, one, and strike. Ish.
The name, Wan Shu, of all the katas we've covered, it's the most Chinese sounding name. Rohai, Basai, Chinto. They sound Eastern, but not specifically Chinese, but Wan Shu sounds very Chinese. And that's a clue to its history. 1683, a Chinese envoy named Wang Zhi came to Okinawa to the port of Tamari. So this is a Tamarite kata. And brought this kata with him. Whether he created the kata or whether he already learnt it somewhere else and bought it, that seems to be lost, but it is Southern Chinese in origin. Again, Matsumura, so-called Matsumura. There are two schools of Wan Shu kata, Matsumura and Itosu. Itosu, who created the pinans. So if you do your research and have a look, they seem to sort of fall into two different camps. And again, like a lot of these katas, nobody seems to do the same version twice. It's been so highly adapted to different schools and different systems, but you can get a general flavour of what the kata's about. There are sort of elements to it, as we covered with the pinans. So in Pinan Godan, it's the first time you get the 9th and 10th kata directions where you go up and down. And this is very much the same, where you get this coming up onto one leg and then dropping down. So it's very dynamic in that respect, shifting the centre, shifting the body line. There's also elements of deception within the kata. This Gakuzuki is meant to push your opponent back off balance, so then you can strike down. So little bits of clever deception, body shifting. So for that reason, it seems that I had a look on the Dan grade syllabus, and this is the kata for 4th Dan. So the Dan grade's only listed up to 4th Dan. So this is about as far as it sort of goes grading-wise. So although there's nothing particularly out of the ordinary stance-wise and technique-wise, its theories and ideas of deception, moving the centre up and down, moving the centre to the side, makes it an advanced kata. So, if you're taking your 4th Dan and you demonstrate it, these are things you probably need to bear in mind and make sure you emphasise and show. So nothing sort of really out of the ordinary, but more to it than meets the eye. So it's quite a dynamic and quite an interesting kata. So I mentioned that since I had covered most of the things I was going to look at in the kata, there was maybe a couple of little bits that we can add just to get your mind thinking, maybe look at things a little bit differently. So we get the section in the kata where we're getting these movements. I was wondering, okay, what could this be? But I think the answer to that question is at the end of that section, where you get the U-punch. So if I can bother Simon, if somebody's going to attack you with a double punch, then you're going to need a double defence. And in Basai and some of the other katas, you do the double punch 3 times. So we get 3 defences. So it's like a question and answer. And this is what kata should be about. It should make you think, what the hell is this? Okay, What's that? Okay. Oh, okay. We can put the two together. So I've got a question and an answer. And the other one relating to the U-punch was, I think it was in Bassai, we were talking about timing. So you might want to do this one first to see what the reaction's going to be. You know, is he going to stay where he is? Is he going to go backwards? Is he come forwards? 1, 2. The compression strike. Hips open. So we can use the closing of the hip as a strike. And then pinning this, use the shift for the hit. So again, just that little bit of timing. So yes, it works a treat together, but if we can get a free hit out of it, then come up. So again, you never know where he's going to be after the strike. So it just gives you that little opportunity to work out where he's likely to be. So just a couple of points, you know, when you're practicing, you might want to have a look at those. It might sort of set your mind racing and explore other things. And the hand. We discussed this in the training session with Sensei the other day, this concept of proprioception. The sensitivity of the nerves in your skin sends a signal to the brain 10 times faster than visualising something. So if you've made contact because you've owned these all your life, then you generally know where they are. So rather than having to visually check where he is, you know where he is because you've got contact. So your strike can be accurate because you're in contact with the person, and that signal is 10 times faster than being visual. So again, a useful tool. You've got contact, you know where it is. So, general point number 1, Shin, Gi, Tai. For any technique to be successful, it needs 3 things: Shin, Gi, Tai. Shin is heart, spirit, mental state. It needs to have intent, kime, focus. So if you haven't got that, it's just a movement. If there's no intent, no focus, no desire to make that technique work and be strong, it's a dance. Gi, not this sort of gi, it's another word for waza or technique. So your technique has to be correct. If you're punching and it's chicken winging, bad wrist positions, you know, you're falling down after kicks because you're not snapping your kicks back, it's poor technique, and that's going to reduce the technique's effectiveness. And the last one is Tai, is the body. And especially if you start delving into internals, what muscle chains are you using? Have you got the correct muscle chain engaged? It's also physical conditioning. You don't have to be Jean-Claude Van Damme, like a bodybuilder. But down at Shinkido a few years ago, we started a minimum fitness requirement for each grade. Since we've had that, the rate of injuries amongst the students has dropped. You know, there's fewer pulled muscles, fewer injuries, because the bodies are more conditioned and used to the physical activity. Because as you train and as your power level increases, eventually you might sort of exceed the capability of your body if your body does become stronger. You could drop a Ferrari engine into a Mini, and for a short while it'd be great, and then eventually the Mini body would fall to pieces and suspension would fall to pieces because it was never designed for that level of power. So you have to have these 3 components to make a technique work. For beginners, until your technique is really good and your body's conditioned, Shin is the big one. If you've got a ferocious fighting spirit, if you're jumped in the street, your Gakuzukis might not be perfect, but if your fighting spirit is good enough, then you might win the day. As you progress, your fighting spirit needs to be good, but then your technique and your physicality needs to improve as well. So there's definite stages where you need to be. And when you get the whole package, then that's when your training can really sort of start to take off. You've got the mental intent. One of Sensei Roger's other long-time students, Sensei Mick Casserly, me and Mick partner for many years, and we work through the techniques and try and do the things Sensei's shown us and get the techniques right. Then eventually one of us will say, ramming speed, and that's when you go for it full pelt. Because if you constantly just practice beautiful technique, you'll have beautiful technique. But if somebody's trying to attack you in the street, they're not going to attack you with beautiful technique. They're going to attack you with ferocious intent. So if you can't match that intent and with some good technique, they're likely to prevail. So Shingi Tai is very important things to check and look for in your training and your progress through training. So the second general point is mudras, which are esoteric hand gestures. In Eastern mysticism, they're meant to channel energies through the body. In the West, we have a few. Thumbs up. It's meant to be, that's the symbol of the devil's horns. We've broken the devil's spell. Okay. I've just been told that this comes from World War I. When they went on patrol and they came back and nobody had been killed, rather than have to say things, it's 0 deaths. So we have a few sort of esoteric hand gestures, but they seem to crop up in katas as well. And this one specifically. So you see some of these mudras in katas. You get various explanations, but nobody can, hand on heart, 100% say what they are, so they're open to interpretation. The beginning of Koshanku in Shotokan is called Kanku. And that sort of roughly translates as stargazer or watcher of the skies. And the idea is your third eye is connecting to the universe, the whole of the universe. So that's quite an esoteric and spiritual gesture. It's also a damned useful fighting technique, as we did with Naihanchi. You know, somebody throws a hook punch, block one side, strike with the other. So open to interpretation. At the start of one shoe, you get this. Can't find any explanation of what this is for. But if you think these were the days where people routinely carried swords or daggers, if somebody's being threatening, and you grab the hilt, the scabbard and the hilt of your sword or your dagger, you're basically saying, well, you really want to do this? So that's may become stylised into this, the same as in the Kung Fu. Maybe the same symbolism. You're going to get this, or not, you know, it's... So these mudras, these hand gestures, esoteric, open to interpretation, but I'm sure, you know, they had some very significant symbolism in the past. Sadly, it's been lost. So the final general point is usages of kata. So we very much use it for solo practice. So you can practice your technique and get your form correct. We, as we've done today, break it up into bunkai kaiset, so you can try these techniques with a partner. Perfectly sensible, perfectly usable, the whole ethos of kata. But you can also use them for other means. So, for example, if you had a really sort of stressful day at work and you're a bit agitated, you can use your kata as almost like a form of meditation or yoga, especially if you use it with your breathing. So, for example, if you take Naihanchi, you can breathe in. Breathe in. And work your way through the kata to synchronise your breathing. We'll say if you're getting stressed and you take deep breaths, it brings your heart rate down, brings your blood pressure down. So use your kata as a form of meditation. Down at Shinkido, we call it Mushin kata. So you do the kata very slowly, very deliberately, empty your mind, no mind, and use it as a form of meditation to bring down your stress levels. Another useful purpose for kata is, you see people have warm-up routines. When they're getting ready for a lesson, they warm up, but you can also use your kata as a warm-up. So instead of, sort of stretching, hold for a few seconds, hold for a few seconds. So using the start of one shoe as a warm-up. You see people warming up. Why not use Kushanka or Naihanchi? You can turn your hands, open the shoulders. Naihanchi again. Open the chest, close the chest. Open the chest, close the chest. So you can use your kata almost like a form of Tai Chi or yoga. So there's more to kata than just the fighting. You can use it as a form of meditation, Mushin kata, or you can use it as your warm-up routine. So you're getting to practice your kata, but also getting other benefits from it.
Okay, conclusion. Wonshu, the biggest item that I found from doing Wonshu is basically taking the attack into the opponent and rapid, dynamic movements to the state where you're starting off doing a uki and a zuki, like Gono-sen, and then you go to Sen-no-sen, and then you go into a full-blown rapid attacks. So if you look at them individually, try and get that Gono-sen, Sen-no-sen, and almost into Sen-sen-no-sen. So try and get your attacks rapid, flowing. Shows that you can use your stances, you can change your stances very quickly. You've got your posture, you've got your balance, you've got your power behind your technique. And also, if need be, you've got time to do your uki as well. So that's the biggest conclusion or the biggest result that I've got from practicing Wonshu. So sadly, earlier this year, Kuroda Sensei died. He's going to be missed by the whole of the martial art world, because I believe anybody who's seen him on his videos can just see his mastery of Taisoboki, Hiroki-ashi. He disappears, he moves his body fantastically. So there was a video just after he died where it was just like a homage to him, and I was watching it, trying to watch it very closely, and we was planning doing Wonshu, and lo and behold, he in my understanding, he almost did a portion of Wonshu. So I'll try and demonstrate, but I'm not going to be as good as him. And I don't intend to be. I'd love to be as good as him, and I'll show you the move that he did. And I'm not very good with technology, so it took me about 30 tries of watching these moves going through the video. Yeah? Until Simon come along and went, "Do you realise you can slow it down into slow motion?" I felt about this big. But it wasn't time wasted. Just see him doing these beautiful moves. Absolutely fantastic. So again, yes, he will be sadly missed. coming down, across, down. Yeah, and here.